All good? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, folks. One always has to start with a blooper, and that's not how the rest of the medical school year is going to go. Certainly, if this was a business group, we can tell that this isn't a business group based on the colors that our students have worn. It's not all black. It's wonderful to see the variety. Good morning, everyone. My name is David Price, and I'm the founding dean of the SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine, and it's my pleasure to serve as your MC today and welcome you all here to this ceremony of welcoming and witnessing, which is something that I think is going to be, I hope, the start of a really important tradition for this medical school. Today really marks the end of our students' orientation. So you've had a wonderful 3 weeks of orientation. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I keep remarking that I wish I could go back to medical school just for 3 weeks. We really, I hope you've enjoyed that 3 weeks, and this is our opportunity to welcome you into the profession and welcome you into, formally, the medical profession. Simon Fraser University Stevens Family School of Medicine does acknowledge with deep respect that our work takes place on the unceded, ancestral and traditional territories of the Halkomen-speaking peoples, including the Kwantlen, the Katzie, the Coquitlam, the Kaikwat and Siwashan nations, as well as the Semiahmoo Nation. These nations are part of the Fraser Salish Health Region, and we are committed as a school and as a university to building relationships that are grounded in reciprocity, in respect, and a shared responsibility. I'm now honored to welcome Elder Dennis Leon from the Kwantlen First Nations, who has graciously agreed to open our ceremony today in a good way. Elder Leon.
Well, anta tseitsamtin Kwanaskwi, Kwantlen, Chumachwiam, Staelis, Kwanatamuk, Nitsa Pothuelam, Katzie, Semiahmoo, Kwantlen, Kekate, Quiquitlam, Saltamuk. That means hi. Good morning. My given name is Tseitsamtin. This name was passed down from my grandfather through ceremony. And I come from Kwantlen First Nation, also acknowledging my family lineage in Staelis and Musqueam. And my English name is Dennis Leon. And just happy to be here and be able to open up with a prayer song for you guys. Heitzupka.
Thank you, Elder Leon. And you will hear more from Elder Leon shortly, but we are really grateful to the host nations who have so graciously continued and contributed their partnership with us. I think these relationships and these combinations and these conversations are helping shape us, who we are as a medical school and how we work in the world. You know, from the beginning, we've had a vision for this medical school that is to be grounded in community. It is to be partnering with our communities and really understanding where our communities are and where they're coming from and who those people are in those communities. And as a physician, we always see the patient in front of us, but it's so important to understand where that patient is coming from, what their background is, and what their community is. And really, that's what we are hoping to impart. Our students, when they graduate, are going to be outstanding clinicians, but we also want them to be really helping to understand their communities and how they contribute to the health and welfare. And that means working in collaboration with our communities. These are ideas that we've tried to impart in this first 3 weeks to our students, but that's something that we will come back to over and over and over again over the course of your 3 years with us. And I hope you'll be able to take those teachings away with you over the next number of years. And today's ceremony, I hope, starts that journey and really reinforces where we're going. You know, before we continue, there are a few special people that we'd like to recognize. Dr. Carol Herbert, our Chancellor, former Dean at sorry, not Chancellor, sorry, thank you, Carol, for shaking your head. Blooper number 2, there'll be a few more over the course of the day. Dr. Herbert is the chair of the SFU Board of Governors. She's also a former Dean of Medicine from Western University in Ontario. Dr. Joy Johnson, President and Vice Chancellor of Simon Fraser University, we got that one right. Dr. Dilson Rassier, Provost and Vice President Academic. Nell Weinman, Dr. Nell Weinman, who is Chief Medical Officer of the First Nations Health Authority, joined by Amanda Laboucaine. And I think it's really important to say that the First Nations Health Authority has been with us lockstep right from the start, helping to shape, really being a significant partner, and we are deeply appreciative of that, Nell and Amanda. Thank you for that. One of our other important partners, of course, has been the Fraser Health Authority. Dr. Ralph Bell is joining us, Vice President Medicine at Fraser Health, and really, we cannot deliver a medical school without clinical partners, and Fraser Health and your team have been instrumental in helping us deliver this, so thank you, Ralph. Stephen Thompson, Director of Health Governance at Métis First Nations, Métis Nation, British Columbia. Thank you and welcome. Appreciate you being here. And then, of course, our special guests, Aaron and Ratna Stevens, along with daughter-in-law, Dr. Regine Stevens. Rimjin is Health and Nutrition Status Strategist at Nature's Path, and we're going to hear more from you shortly, and so thank you for being here. This is an important day for all of us at the medical school. We've been working for this for a long time, and this, of course, an event like this cannot happen. Medical schools don't happen with just a few individuals. And students, I was really hoping that we could take this opportunity to acknowledge some of the folks that have been a part of helping to create this journey for you. So I would invite, first of all, our staff who've been working so hard behind the scenes and in front of the scenes over the last number of days and weeks and months, just to stand so that we can all see who you are and really appreciate the work that you're doing. Not quite yet a cast of thousands, but soon to be so. The next group I just would like to is our faculty. So we have faculty sprinkled throughout, and of course you cannot create a medical school without faculty and leadership, and so I'd invite our faculty and leaders to please stand and be acknowledged. And I could spend the next half an hour thanking members of the government and the bureaucrats and the rest of the SFU and facilities and IT and everything. And it really has been a team work, and the partnerships that we've experienced as a medical school has been really, truly remarkable. It's been just a pleasure to work with all of the folks, and my real thanks and deep appreciation. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Joy Johnson. Dr. Joy Johnson is a nurse, a former lead in CIHR, but more importantly, Joy has been an enormous champion of our school. She has been there before any of us were part of the medical school. You have been a key ally, really an advocate for a group of medical students, and so thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Price. Thank you for the land acknowledgement, and also I want to thank Elder Leon for starting us off in a good way. That was really moving, and when I look at it, it was particularly moving with this beautiful view of the Fraser River behind us, and to think about the land that we're on. It was really beautiful, so thank you so very much. It is an honor to be here today. It has been a journey, and it's important to mark milestones along the journey. In other medical schools, they might do something called a white coat ceremony. You can come over here and share this time with me. But instead, we're holding an Indigenous-led welcoming and witnessing ceremony. See, there's the dot right there. Excellent. So we're doing things a little bit differently. I've told Eran and Ratna we're going to flow with it this morning, so we're doing that. And so the aim, as Dr. Price has said, is to really create an opportunity to induct our wonderful students and in front of your family, your friends, your loved ones, the little ones as well, who are so great to have you with us, to mark your commitment and to think about your commitment as an agent of compassion and care within the medical field in British Columbia. We need you. However, before we get started, we've got a little bit of work to do, and we've got these very, very special guests with us. And I'm just going to say a few words about these two amazing people. They are co-founders of Nature's Path, principals of KPASA, and leaders in the organic food movement. Eran and Ratna have put community well-being and social responsibility at the center of their work and their lives. And we are so very, very grateful for their transformational gift of $40 million to the Stevens Family School of Medicine. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So this gift is transformational. It's going to support student training, research, innovation, community impact, and critical infrastructure. It's a game changer for us. And they're here to share a few words with you. And so I'm going to invite you to share a few words. And it's just wonderful to have you with us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, David Price. Distinguished faculty, students, families, and friends. Families are very important. There's an old saying, It takes a village to raise a child. Child is not brought up, nurtured alone. Their neighbors, their friends, their uncles and their aunts. It takes a village. I believe it also takes a village to educate a doctor. It takes a province. It takes a university. It takes dedicated professors and mentors. And it takes parents, grandparents, families, and friends who encourage you, who believe in you, and stand beside you along the way. Today, as we celebrate you, the students and future doctors, we also recognize all those who have helped you reach this important moment. This is a very important moment for you, for your parents. To each of you, I would say, never forget why are you here. Never forget. We are here to serve others. Medicine will give you knowledge, skills, and remarkable new technologies. But alongside all of these, never understand the healing power of simple human. Just healing power of, see, he's my guide. Never underestimate the healing power of simple human kindness. A patient comes to you not only with an illness, but often with fear. I have fear of my knees, and I'm going to see the doctor, surgeon. So others will come to you with fears, uncertainty, but with hope. Listen to them. See the whole person beside you. Be compassionate, be kind. As you become accomplished physicians, remain humble. Be compassionate. Be kind. Remember the parents, grandparents, teachers, mentors, and communities who helped you reach your goals. Please extend the same helping hand to others. Knowledge will make you a good doctor, but humility, compassion, and service will help you make a great one. Thank you, and may you carry the spirit of service throughout your lives. We welcome you and congratulate you to achieving up to this far. It's entirely up to you what you will do further. We love you. Thank you.
Hard act to follow. Good morning and congratulations to the 48 members of this historic inaugural class of the SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine. You have been welcomed, celebrated, photographed, and probably told quite a few times how exceptional you are. Well, enjoy it. Because the honeymoon is about to be over. And now the work begins. Ahead of you are years of study, long hours, clinical training, examinations, and probably a few sleepless nights. Probably more than a few, eh, David? But you are also...
Scare them.
I'll put the fear of God in them. But you're also embarking upon the most meaningful journeys a human being can undertake, the journey of becoming a healer. This is a medical school with a difference. It embraces the latest science and technologies in the treatment of disease and injury while recognizing something medicine has always known at its best. We must care for the whole person, not simply treat a collection of symptoms. We are especially inspired by a vision that respects integrative approaches to health, is open to indigenous wisdom, and asks not only, how do you treat this illness, but also, what are its underlying causes and how might it have been prevented? Our health is shaped by many things. Genetics, certainly, but also by the food we eat, the exercise we take, our environment, our habits, and the way we live. Poor diet, dare I say a junk food diet, inactivity, environmental pollution, and drug and alcohol abuse are all contributors to illness, to disease. But there is another dimension of health we should not overlook, the need to pause. In the busyness and pressures of modern life, we all need moments of quiet, to step away from the constant noise, to reflect, to still the mind and body, and simply to be, whether we call it meditation, contemplation, or quiet reflection. Taking time each day to become still can help restore balance and reconnect us with what is most important in life. More than 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates, often called the father of Western medicine, gave us the enduring counsel, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Those words have a very personal meaning for us. More than half a century ago, Ratana and I felt called to a life and career devoted to helping pioneer a more holistic approach to life, to health, through organic farming and wholesome plant-based foods. What began as a conviction about food, soil, and human well-being eventually became our life's work. And we learned something along the way. Health does not begin in the hospital. It begins in the soil, on the farm, in the kitchen, in our homes and communities, and also in those quiet moments when we turn inward and allow the mind and body to become still. And that is why this new school means so much to us. It has the opportunity to educate a new generation of physicians who are scientifically rigorous, compassionate, and community-minded, who understand prevention as well as cure, and above all, who see the patient before they see the disease. British Columbia and Canada urgently need more family physicians. But we also need physicians who have the time, training, and wisdom to listen, and who recognize that the best medicine sometimes begins long before a prescription is written. We were inspired to support this new vision, and we're deeply grateful to have been able to do so. But no great institution is built by one family, one gift, or one generation. Our hope is that this beginning will inspire others to step forward, to support these students, these teachers, this school, and this vision for the future. If this school can help restore the family doctor to the heart of our communities, unite the best of modern medicine with prevention and whole person care, and graduate physicians who combine knowledge with compassion, it will have accomplished something truly extraordinary. May the Stevens Family School of Medicine, the SFU, become not only a place where doctors are trained, but a place where healing itself is reimagined. For Ratna and me, it has been a profound honor to help plant this seed. Though we may not see it reach its full promise, we take comfort in knowing that generations of physicians, patients, and families will be touched by what begins here today. Perhaps that is the deepest privilege of all, to plant a tree whose shade we may never enjoy, trusting that others will gather beneath it and carry its life forward. Thank you.
Beautiful words. Thank you. That was beautiful. Now you're supposed to go back to the dock here.
The dock here.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I know. Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Aaron and Ratna, for those beautiful words, reminding us about really the vision of this school. I think you can understand their passion for the Stevens Family School of Medicine and this notion of us being needing a community to really support the physicians of the future. You have planted more than one seed, I have to say, and so thank you very, very much. It's wonderful to have Dr. Rimjim Stevens here with us as well, a part of the Stevens family, and we are going to unveil a big surprise now.
I didn't want to do this, but David asked me, he said, instead of a photograph, Aaron, why don't you do a painting? And I said, well, what size? He says, well, make it big.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Beautiful. So in addition to his many talents, Aaron is a painter. And I really want to thank you for this amazing painting. And it's going to be installed in the Innovation Plaza, and we're going to be enjoying it for years to come. So thank you for this gift, for your incredible philanthropy and support of the school. Oh, and now I'll come to you, Ratna. Ratna has a very significant birthday coming up, I understand. 80 years young. Ratna, happy birthday to you. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to David, but let's all sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ratna. Happy birthday to you. Back to you.
Serenaded by the new SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine family. Thank you, President Johnson, and thank you, Aaron and Ratna and Rimjim, for being here and part of that. Dr. Stevens flew in from Chicago, especially for this event, so we are deeply appreciative of you making the trip. Thank you. This is a really special moment, and I look forward to seeing this not only in the new Innovation Plaza where the students are now and in our new temporary School of Medicine, which I think is more than just temporary, but it will be in the permanent School of Medicine. We're designing the lobby to feature it. I'm going to be sad to not be having this in my office and looking at me day in and day out where it's been hidden for the last month or so. So I'd now like to invite Valerie Cross, Director of Community, come on in Valerie, Community Engagement and a member of the Tsawwassen First Nations and one of our champions. Valerie has a, thank you. I get more hugs from Valerie, it's great.
It's true, I'm a bit of a hugger.
I'll hold it if you like.
That way I know where my notes are all the time. Asiam nasia ahni squelmuch, chamquat quanasqui, huelmuch squi. Valerie Cross tanasquitamal nasqui. Amisep kuquelam, haisapka quanas ilap titzo. Chamquat is my Indigenous name. Valerie Cross is my English name. Oh, my honored friends, relatives, and fellow Indigenous people, welcome. I'm a little nervous because I'm learning my language. I do come from Tsawwassen First Nation, and when I was little, I was raised by my grandparents on the Tsawwassen Reserve, Grandma Pearl White and Grandpa Isaac Williams Tehuilam. But then there was a journey where I had to venture off and be in a foster home with a beautiful family. I was fortunate enough, but I was disconnected from my culture. And the youth are powerful learners, and they are learning the language. And I'm grateful to the SFU Indigenous Language Program. We have many of our youth that are participating in that program and have brought home and revived the language in our community. And now they're teaching this older brain of mine the language. But it is important for my identity, for all of our identity, to stay connected to our language. So thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of what I'm trying to learn in starting a little bit of my part here with my language. I also want to thank my relative Dennis for the beautiful prayer and bringing the drum to this ceremony. The drum is an important part of our culture. It's in a circle on purpose because it keeps us all united together. And as the drum is beat, our heartbeats come together and we unite together. And our heartbeats are beating at the same time as that drum. And we become a family together when that drum is played. So thank you so much for bringing your prayer, your medicine to us to start us up in a good way and to bring that drum to us. You've heard the word community be mentioned a number of times here. And I think that relationships are integral to the work and advancing work that we're doing together. And the relationship that I have with my community, with the relatives, allowed me to bring something beautiful to start this cohort off in a nice way. My relative, Carl Morgan, he's a very talented artist, and I'm sorry that he's not here today to meet another fellow artist, and a very talented artist at that. He's not feeling well. But so he asked me if I could come and share a little bit of his work that we're going to reveal in a moment that has been gifted to this cohort. Carl is a very, very talented artist. I am not. I can't sing. I'm not very good at artistic work, but I'm a good talker and a good hugger. And in my community, they've asked me to speak for them, and it's a squeakquel, and so I'm the squeakquel for Carl today, and I'm honored to do so. Carl, he's a proud Tsawwassen member, and he's a very highly respected Coast Salish artist. He's a carver, he's a painter, and he's been doing this work for 35 years. And we nurtured him when he was younger, just as we're nurturing our new doctors here to bring them up to be part of our community. He's been known for significant pieces of public art like house posts, murals, and reclaiming the culture through art in our community at Tsawwassen First Nation. His work reflects a deep and enduring connection between the people, the Tsawwassen people, the land, the waters, and it's grounded in our Coast Salish teachings and our knowledge and our traditions. So when I was asked by the Dean to find a piece of art that could represent a Coast Salish feeling that could be used on thank you cards and bring a different meaning to thank you, a different meaning to Haichka, Haisapka, I reached out to my relative and I said, Carl, could you please take a look at what work we're doing here at the School of Medicine? And could you create a piece of art that is meaningful to our Coast Salish ways and to our teachings, our knowledge, and to the important work of medicine, the important work of healers. Healers in our communities have high-ranking status, and they're integral to our community. So Carl took this work, and he took my words, and he created a piece of art that is centered around a reimagined version of the rod of, let's see if I can say this right, Asclepius? Eusebius. Oh, I'm going to have to try this again. But it's a widely recognized symbol of medicine, even though I can't say it. It's associated with the Greek god of healing, and my relative interpreted this sealing through a Coast Salish lens, ensuring that it reflects the teachings of our people and the perspectives of healing. And the choice to place this on a drum was intentional. It's a significant Coast Salish piece. The drum represents, as I mentioned, the heartbeat of the people, and it brings all of the individuals together in ceremony to share an experience together. It symbolizes unity, connection, and a collective wellness, and reinforcing the importance of community healing practices. Circling the image, you'll see is that the design is inspired by the traditional Coast Salish blankets. Coast Salish blankets are very important in our culture. And blankets hold a deep cultural value, used for warmth, used for ceremony, used for gifting, and expressions of care and relationship and responsibility. The use of SFU's red and black colors aligns with the traditional blanket colors and intentionally honors the important role of women's work in our communities and the contributions that our women give to our community. And at the top of the rod, my relative Carl, he depicted an eagle head without wings following the structure of the rod. The eagle is a powerful symbol of strength, of vision, and a spiritual connection. And the eagle feathers have long been used to fan medicinal medicines and to carry prayers. So the eagle is an appropriate symbol on this image. It's all central to the Tsawwassen identity, if you haven't seen. It's really an integral part of our identity and reflects a little bit about our Tsawwassen people in this image. Both the eagle and the servant are rendered in a traditional Coast Salish design, grounding the work firmly visually in our traditions. And I think that you'll find that it's a lovely image for this cohort to represent and to be used. The drum needs to be used, and hopefully that we'll be bringing in singers to come in and share this with us. This is the beautiful drum, now in a little motion.
Thank you. And that's the first time that drum has been played, and we hope it's used. The idea is that every class we will commission or invite one of our host nations to do a work of art that represents something that's meaningful and relates to both the medical school and their community. For the class of 29, this is your gift. This will be displayed with your pictures, hopefully, as you graduate. And we've put it on the thank you cards for our school with a piece about the drum and why it's been done. And this will be our hopefully every year, so you will be known as the class of the drum, I guess. But we'll go from there. And Valerie, thank you for those beautiful words. Indeed, Valerie was given the gift of the voice. I would like now to introduce Dr. Chris Magnuson. Chris is a former Dean of Education here at SFU and is a proud Saskatchewan SFU leader for many years. Chris was one of the first individuals who, that Joy and the then Provost Wade Parkhouse invited to help create this school. And so Chris is really person number one with, or maybe 1B if Joy is one, with the school, and has really helped us to shape the vision over the last number of years. And Chris has been instrumental in helping us navigate the intricacies of Senate, navigate the intricacies of government relations, and really help us to think about how we create this school in a really good way. And Chris, just as a personal note, your help has been so appreciated.
Thank you, David. I'm going to be speaking mostly to this inaugural class of the Stevens Family School of Medicine, so the rest of you can just nod off for a bit. You possess strong academic ability, a commitment to service and to community, the willingness and the resolve to overcome obstacles, and a passion for helping others. That is how you got here, and never, ever doubt that you belong. In many, in many Indigenous traditions, the spirits of the ancestors, are welcomed into ceremony so that those in the present can take time to reflect on all those who have come before them. And what you're experiencing today and will experience over the course of the next few years of your program is the result of literally hundreds of people who collectively spent thousands of hours to bring us to this moment. I'm sharing with you a brief story, a brief history of the Stevens Family School of Medicine, and in doing so, I want to bring honor to all of those people whose names you will never hear and without whom you would not be here. John Dewey, one of my favorite guys, said, "Every great advance in science issued from a new audacity of imagination." This school is nothing if not a new audacity of imagination. I'm calling my story, perhaps in tribute to my son, who's a horror flick fan, The Attack of the Killer Bees. And it came in 3 distinct swarms. The first swarm buzzed about, saying things like, "There should not and never shall be a school of medicine at SFU." It took 25 years of persistence to overcome the should not be's. Jack Blaney, president of SFU in the late 1990s, was the first to suggest that there should be an SFU School of Medicine based in Surrey. There was extremely strong external resistance to the idea. Why build a new school when you could simply expand an existing school? There's also strong internal resistance. Why risk SFU's reputation as Canada's #1 comprehensive university by adding a money-draining school of medicine? But subsequent presidents, from Michael Stevenson through Andrew Petter through Joy Johnson, persisted and persisted and persisted. And then in 2022, the government of BC invited SFU not to build a school, but to write a proposal to get funding to build a business case for a new school. Though the should not be's were not silenced, they lost much of their power as soon as there was that formal government backing for the idea of an SFU School of Medicine. And that is when the second swarm buzzed in. They were convinced that it simply could not be done, and especially not within the timelines we were given. It would be absolutely impossible, we were told, to launch a school by 2026. After all, this would be the first School of Medicine in Western Canada in almost 60 years, and no one in the government and no one in the university had the first clue about how to build a School of Medicine. And especially not one that was supposed to address historical and systemic inequities. Within that process, there were 3 massive approval processes, and each one of those required thousands of hours of work. We had to get a budget approved from government. We had to get the school and program approved from the university, and we had to get accreditation approval from the medical bodies. Each process had a different agenda and had a different set of detractors. To meet the first one, for example, the first approval process was preparing the business case. 13 different work streams were established. Each work stream was chaired by someone at SFU who also held a full-time job elsewhere. Each work stream had broad representation, all of volunteers from the university, from the community, and from experts from across the country. And 8 months after that first meeting and the first working group was formed, a final business case was delivered to the government for review. And that was exactly to the day, well, within 3 days, 3 years ago, 2023, August 31st. The other 2 processes, building the governance structure and the curriculum framework that would secure institutional approval and meeting criteria for accreditation, took similar massive efforts. Over the course of 3 years, it was a pretty rare late evening or weekend that this work paused. And one by one, through sheer brute force, each level of approval was obtained. It was not only the exhausting and painstaking work that brought success, it was also the amazing spirit of collaboration developed through genuine relationships that silenced the could-not-be's. The third swarm took an entirely different angle of attack. Their buzz was that a School of Medicine may be an okay idea as long as it must be my way. Everyone has an idea of what should be in a School of Medicine. There was also fierce opposition to what we've called the core pillars of the school, that it was to be developing a competency and experiential-based and community-centric curriculum, that it would use a non-traditional admission process, that it would embed Indigenous ways in all aspects of the school. But as Victor Hugo noted, more powerful than the tread of a mighty army is an idea whose time has come. Ideas outlast brute force. And when a powerful and correct idea finally gains support, society is changed. There is, and always likely will be, a faint, it must be my way buzz, but it now lands as an irritant and not something to be feared. So persistence, sustained commitment, and at times outrageously hard and exhausting work. Not wavering in the face of criticism and disbelief. And above all, faith in the enterprise and in each other. The things that brought this school into being are much the same as the things that brought you to this place today. So every time you think it's too hard, but persist anyway. Every time you feel like you can't possibly do one more thing, and you do it anyway. Every time that you shine a light into someone's darkened health corner, and every time you lift up one of your colleagues to help them in their becoming. Every time you do these things, you honor the ancestors who have gone before you and prepared this place for you. And every time you do these things, you take the sting out of the killer bees. The should not bees, the could not bees, and the must be my way bees. Hi hi, Nitsinye, Taki, Haichika. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Love words to remember. Our next guest to speak, or not guest, but member of our team is Dr. Rebecca Eatman. Rebecca has been really instrumental in helping not only with developing this alongside her team, but helping to shape how we think about training medical students, about how we shape how to interact with the community and how to be present in the work that we do. Rebecca is a family physician. Dr. Eatman is a family physician, practices full spectrum of care. She delivers babies. She flies into First Nations communities and provides comprehensive family medicine care in those First Nations communities, works in St. Paul's region, so in downtown Vancouver, so really exemplifies that holistic approach to medicine, to family medicine, and to community-based care, and is wise beyond her years, not beyond your ears, beyond her ears, that's 3. I'll keep score, it's okay. So Rebecca, thank you, and welcome.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you so much, Chris, for your words. As our team was doing strategic planning earlier this year, Justin Bowringer, who's our Associate Director of Indigenous Health Stewardship, actually recommended that we look behind us and remember where we came from, so we could set the course to know where we need to go next. And I think that sets the stage for the day that we have today, looking backwards about how this school was built, the principles that it was built on, the vision that a tremendous amount of incredible people had in building this. We'll set the stage for this cohort, and what an amazing cohort. You guys have a tremendous opportunity to help shape the direction that our school is going to go as well. I want to welcome all the friends and family who came here today to support all of the students, especially the young ones. In our Indigenous cultures, no ceremony is complete without the youngest ones there. I work in a small community called Takla First Nation, and we had an opportunity to have a community event there. Myself and leaders from across the province sat in a circle, and all the kids were in the middle. So kids are at the center of everything that we do. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about CEDAR. So CEDAR, as you probably know, is an important component of BC recent history in terms of economic development, logging industry, and the creation of a lot of small towns across the province. CEDAR also has an important presence in First Nations cultures all in the northwest of this region. It's a cradle-to-grave necessity of life. Women who are birthing use cedar as part of the process. Babies are wrapped in cedar when they're born. And it's also used to build homes, so a nod to its strength. but also to weave clothing as well. As you all probably know, in this area of the world, it can get quite wet, and the typical tapestry and weaving from other parts of the world didn't work here for the First Nations people. So it's a cradle to grave need. And I was reading a book yesterday that had a quote from Bill Reed in it, and he talked about why he loved cedar. And he talked about two aspects of it. One is its strength, and the other is its grace. So we use cedar to build large structures, but it also has the ability to bend and be flexible and move as he was carving it. Just the ability for the grains as he was carving to show themselves and help guide his artwork. And I think that's a good representation for the medical students today as you're going through the next phase of your journey in life and training. Cedar is a good representation. The cohort in the past 4 weeks has built a strong community from what I can see. And so you'll use that community as a source of strength as you go through your training. But also remember cedar's flexibility. There'll be ways that you're challenged throughout this journey. And so remember to be flexible as well. Now I'd like to take a moment to invite Elder Dennis Leon back up to the stage to speak a little bit more about cedar in our Indigenous cultures. So you've already met him, and thanks again for your welcome. Dennis Leon is from Kwantlen First Nation. Oh, I forgot the most important part. I'm so sorry. So, as a nod to the importance of cedar, our Indigenous Health Stewardship team actually spent 2 days collecting cedar in the traditional way, which is going and pulling it off the trees. And so Paula James, who is from Catesy First Nation, was kind enough to guide our team in this traditional way of collecting cedar. And one of the days was at, we got the video, excellent. So that's Jackie and I think Rachel, strong cedar pullers, excellent work. One was near Golden Ears Provincial Park, and the other one was near Stave Lake. And, cedar pulling can only be done at a very short period of time during the year. So once Paula gave us the call, our team ran to help. So thanks to the whole Indigenous Health Stewardship team who was part of that event. Now I will welcome Dennis Leon back to the stage. So Dennis Leon is from Kwantlen First Nation, a well-respected singer and knowledge keeper who works for the Surrey School District, teaching our young ones as a district cultural advisor and also as a cultural advisor for Len-Pierre Consulting. He revitalizes culture, tradition, and language in his community. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, teacher Siam, please to skepsit a quam cha talitis at squalwa. Whilam ka eat till to the whale, a quas haqualit it was the sialachwas. I just wanted to share a bit about cedar. In our dialect, we call it chape. And these stories, they go back far as the stories of creation. Chape was once a person in one of the villages, and he's very avid in helping people out. That was his passion, was helping people, and to always be there. For right from the youngest to the oldest, he was a man of many trades. He was really good with his hands, and also during that time, we had our version of the Almighty. We call him Chals, and back then, Chals, he was traveling through the territories. And what was going on was, at this time, there was a lot of people who carried powers. They could shapeshift. They could imitate animals, or they could travel interdimensionally. So a lot of these people, a lot of times they misuse these powers. And so when Hals heard about this, he came down to our physical earth here, and as he was going through the territories, all of these people that were keeping their knowledge for themselves, a lot of them were being turned into stone. And these stones are still there to this day. They're known as transformation stones. And there were people who were turned into stone as a lesson. And the lesson behind that is always share your knowledge, always pass down your teachings. And this one day, Chals, he heard that, Chape heard that Chals was in the area, and he wanted to see him. And so Chals was brought to the village to visit with Chape. And Chape knew that his time here on the physical earth was coming to an end. Soon he was going to make his journey to the spirit world. And so he had a request for Chals. So when Chals met Chape, he told Chals, he said, taking care of my people, that's what I do, that's my business. He said, I look after everybody in these villages here. He said, I help out whenever I can. And he said, so when I leave this earth, I want to be changed into something that's going to help the people. And not very long after, Chape made his journey. And where they buried him, that's where the first cedar tree grew, right where his heart was. And that's him to this day keeping his promise to look after the people. We use the hardwood to make the drums. We use the hardwood to build canoes, to build longhouses. We use the inner cedar bark to make hats, to make clothing. The cedar roots were used for baskets. The cedar boughs, that was our spiritual part. That's the part we use to brush people off during ceremony. And a lot of the time when we honor people, you'll see them standing on cedar boughs. And this is a way of creating ground that's never been sat on or stood on. It's like a holy ground that's never been stepped on before. So a lot of times, in our ceremonies, you'll see the people who are being honored, they'll be standing on the cedar boughs. And so to this day, he's kept his promise. He's looking after us. Still to this day, people build their houses with cedar. We still build canoes and our longhouses with cedar. And so that's the little story about cedar. Haitsatka.
Thank you, Elder Leon. Always love hearing your wise words. So we're about to take a little shift here in the morning. In just a minute, we'll be asking the students to get up and leave, and the rest of you will have an opportunity to stand and stretch for a couple of minutes while we reset. I did want to just take a moment, though, to thank all of the students' guests, the friends, their parents, their loved ones, relatives, children, etc. It's really important that you're here to witness this part of the ceremony. Students did not, as Rebecca has alluded to, get here by themselves. They had done a lot of work. They had to do a lot of work to get lucky to be put themselves in the position to get here. But that work was supported by you. But this is just the beginning of the journey. Once they're in medical school, it starts to get hard at times. There are going to be difficult times, and they're going to need to lean on you. They're going to need your support. There are going to be tough times. There are going to be some challenging episodes, and that's where that support can mean such a difference. But there's also going to be some amazing times. The first time you're the first person ever to hold a newborn as it is first delivered. The time when you are able to make an amazing diagnosis that changes the trajectory of somebody's life. The time that you're able to support somebody in a way that they never thought they could be supported. That is what, for you, is the important aspect of supporting your loved ones, these amazing students, through this next journey. And what you're about to witness is really that start of that appropriate support that they're going to need and depend on you over the course of the next coming 3 years and beyond, of course. So thank you for being here. We really do appreciate you coming here to be a part of this. This would be such an empty, well, it'd be an empty room for sure, but it would be an empty process without all of you. And so I know that some of you have come a long way and have had to make sacrifices to be here. And I just want to say on behalf of the school and of course the students, how much we appreciate you being here. And I think you'll enjoy the next part of this ceremony. So for now, I'd invite the students to, Thank you. I'd invite the students to stand and to exit that way. Stage left, I think that is. And parents and everybody else, please take a moment to stand and stretch. We'll reconvene in about 5 minutes. So this is your opportunity to move.
Adam Ashley. Kaylee Bunting. Rachel Cassie. Irene Sessford. Zach Chatur. Truman Chu. Yusin Chu. Oh, it's Jasper Delight. Caitlin Cardamon. Jasper Delight. Karan Dewan. Sukmani Dillon. Benjamin Ferguson. Matt Fitzsimmons. Ricky Gill. Dae Gulbranson. Charlotte Higgins. Janine Ho. Willa Homewood. Catalina Ionescu. Diane Kim. Eugenie Kwong. Lulu Lian. Justin Long. Gordon Lee. Jaylene Major. Jasmine Mully. Mackenzie Millick. Sahil Mirazavi. Shahir Mohammed. Jessica Monday. Sarah Najafabadi. Dayton Noga. Jeffrey Pan. Alexi Papp. Karen Parmar. Javier Rivera. Luigi Samarelli. Maytab Sandhu. Vikrant Singh Sangera. Joshua Shepard. Puneet Sidhu. Colton Tapp. Cameron Sue. Emma Tucker. Colton. Caden Wigard. Linda Yang. Edward Yang.
Okay, you do. So I think the hardest and toughest job today was tying those ribbons. Well done. Just probably appropriate to just tell you who was doing that. It was Dr. Don Cooper, who is our Associate Dean of Assessment and Evaluation, Dr. Maria Hubinet, who is Associate Dean of Everything at the start, was the first one, and now is taking on the Associate Dean Partnerships and helping relationships with the communities. Dr. Kim McGrail, who is our Associate Dean of Research, and does everything about helping us to think about how this school interacts with the community and how we influence policy, healthcare, et cetera, around the world. And of course, you met Samir already. Rebecca.
I feel like the headband tires need a round of applause for, yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, and also thank you for the notes about positioning from the Stevens family in the front. We appreciate that as well. Just a little bit of a background about why cedar headbands. So you heard from our elder today about the importance of cedar in culture and ceremony. Oftentimes cedar was used as a marker of even a coming of age ceremony. And in this particular situation, we're using cedar headbands as a marker of protection for the medical students. So we brought all you folks here today to support the students as part of their protection as they move through their medical training, but also the rest of their careers as physicians. For those of you who might be in the healthcare field, you know that your spouses are also probably married to your jobs as well. So that's the significance of the cedar today. And so the next part of the ceremony is we're going to bring up 4 witnesses. So we have Catalina, Benjamin, Jasmine, and Colton. You might know that our first day of medical school was in the Catesy First Nation Longhouse, where our medical students were active participants in working with the Catesy First Nation community in ceremony, not passive observers. The Truth and Reconciliation recommendations have asked all healthcare providers to learn about culture in order to combat a lot of the harms that have been done to our people in the healthcare system. And when I say our people, it reminds me, I actually haven't introduced where I'm from. I'm Tsimshian from Wakolams on my dad's side. My grandparents are Annie and Rennie Johnson, and Métis on my mom's side are families from the Red River settlement. And witnessing is an important component of my Tsimshian culture, but also throughout most of the Coast Salish cultures in the Lower Mainland. So when witnesses are called in any kind of event, they're called to be markers of history. We have oral traditions, oral histories, and so our histories that are brought forward is we call the witnesses to the next event, and they say what they saw, heard, and feel. And it also is a marker of validating the event itself. So when we call witnesses, we say, like, this is serious business. And it is a serious business day. It's the beginning of medical school journey. And so we had 4 lovely student witnesses that were called on the first day of medical school who talked about what they saw at the Katzie First Nation Longhouse. And now they're gonna speak to what they saw throughout the 4 weeks of orientation. So I'll call up Catalina first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Catalina, and I've had one of the privileges of being one of the witnesses throughout this orientation. And today I'm going to be speaking to what I saw, what I heard, and what I felt. So to start, what I saw throughout our orientation was the beauty of the lands that surround us here in the Lower Mainland. I think often we move through our days without stopping to appreciate the land beneath our feet, to learn about the communities and the histories that have been here long before us. And throughout this orientation, we have been given the opportunity to not only visit these communities, but to learn from them in the community as well. We had the opportunity to visit Katzie First Nation and their beautiful longhouse, where we learned about the history of the longhouse, the Fraser River, as well as the salmon traveling along the river as well. We also had the opportunity to visit Tsawwassen First Nation and learned about the many initiatives taking place within the community, from recreational programming to the food donation centers to their wonderful health initiatives. And one of my favorite moments from Tsawwassen First Nation was walking along the pier, looking out at the Salish Sea, and the beautiful nature that surrounded us and feeling that sea breeze. And it was one of those moments where you could truly just pause and just take in where you are and the privilege of being there. But what I heard throughout this orientation was also just as meaningful. One of the most beautiful things we've been hearing over and over again is the reminder that every single one of us is unique. We all come from different backgrounds, we all carry different experiences, and we all have different stories. And that is the beauty of who we are. This month, we had the opportunity to slow down. Although there was a lot of things we did through orientation, we also slowed down. And what I mean by that is we started to learn how to truly listen to one another. Not just to hear someone's words, but to truly hear their stories. To create relationships where people feel seen, heard, and understood. And lastly, what I felt throughout this month was support and connection, and I spoke to this from the very first day as well. I felt connections growing with all the peers here today, and we started to grow closer throughout this month, and I know that these relationships are only going to continue growing and really move us through this journey together. I also felt support from our incredible faculty and staff who have welcomed us with open arms. Their excitement, their encouragement, and their support has truly been felt, so thank you. And I think there's one group of people here who deserve an especially incredible acknowledgement, and Bretna and Dr. David Price also spoke about this, but the people sitting in this room, the people in our audience, the mentors, the friends, the family, the family members who encouraged us, supported us, listened to us, believed in us. They are all part of the reason that we are standing here today. Oh, I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. I'm not crying, but I am shaking. So, and that support doesn't end here today. It's gonna continue and carry us throughout this entire journey. And lastly, it was also mentioned from our very first day by Dr. David Price, this idea of family, the family that we're starting to grow here today with our classmates, our faculty, and our school community. We are creating a family outside of our own families, a community that will challenge us, support us, celebrate with us, and stand beside us throughout the years ahead. And I hope that when we come back in 2029 and walk across this beautiful stage as doctors, we can all look around this room and remember that this wasn't just the start of our educational journey, but the beginning of the relationships, experiences, and the community that carried us through it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Catalina. My name is Ben Ferguson, one of the medical students, of course. I grew up in the area in Langley, BC. My dad is from Ireland and my mom is from England. They immigrated in their early lives and we settled here. I currently live on the unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh in Vancouver, and I'm very grateful to be here today as one of the witnesses. I really wanted to honor this experience as being a witness, as this is a oral tradition. I really wanted to try and speak as much from the heart. So while I have a few notes in front of me, I'm trying to let this be as an organic experience as possible. When I was thinking about this experience and coming into this experience of orientation, I thought about curiosity. The curiosity that brought us all to medicine. For some of us, it was working in other healthcare roles where we wondered, what more could I do for this person in front of me if I had more skills? And also, what's going on with this person in front of me in general? This whole person who I have the opportunity to see and witness, what more can I do for them? There was also curiosity about each other. Who else would be in this program with me? I think on the first day, we really found out that all the people who were around us really meant to be here. From a diverse backgrounds, diverse careers, that was only part of the reason they were here. We learned a lot through this orientation about the deeper reasons, the deeper meanings of why each of us are here. And I can confidently say to the 47 of you that you certainly all belong, and I am extremely proud to be here with you. Something else I've thought about, something I've been curious about is what we're being asked to do. This is the first medical school in 60 years in Western Canada. And we're being tasked with a huge task, an enormous task to try and meet the needs of British Columbians, especially as it comes to primary care. And something kept coming up to me as I was thinking about what I might say today, and so I wanted to share a small excerpt. This is from a Quichua people of modern-day Peru in Ecuador. They're in that indigenous group. This is a little passage called The Little Hummingbird that I'll read for you now. Once there was a fire in the great forest, a fire so terrible that all the animals fled in a panic from their homes. The elephants, tigers, frogs, and birds huddled at the edge of the forest and watched their homes burn. All except for one. The little hummingbird did not abandon the forest. Instead, she flew as fast as she could to the stream to pick up a single drop of water on her beak. The little hummingbird flew back and forth, letting the water fall into the ferocious fire. The little hummingbird dashed back and forth as the other animals watched. The other animals felt powerless, stating they were too big or too small or too old to help. Finally, Big Bear stopped the little hummingbird and asked, "Little hummingbird, what are you doing?" The little hummingbird stopped and looked at the other animals and said, "I'm doing what I can." Thank you.
everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine. Thank you, Catalina and Ben, for sharing everything that you've shared so far. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Okay, that's better. So over the past 4 weeks, we've had the privilege of being welcomed onto the Katzie and Tsawwassen First Nations and learning on their territories. And as you've heard about the practice of witnessing, I stand here today and I'm extremely grateful to be a witness and to be able to share some of the stories from the time we've had during orientation. On our first day of class at Katzie First Nations, we learned about how to reflect on what we saw, what we heard, and how we felt. So for today, I thought it would be fitting to return back to the same notion as I reflect on the past 4 weeks. So what I saw was the beginning of relationships. At Katzie, in the Longhouse where we gathered, it was a place of culture, connection, and community. Over the weeks that followed, the same sense of connection began to grow within our own cohort. Through conversations, shared experiences, and even something as simple as playing a board game, I saw how unfamiliar faces became familiar ones, and friendships began to form. What I heard were teachings that I know will stay with me. One of the most important ones was to start in a good way. And as we're doing here today, this is another Indigenous practice and teaching that was carried out throughout the orientation. So we started by creating some space before beginning, to settle in, to be present, and to connect with the people around us. And similar to what I'm describing here, I thought, as I was listening to the other discussions, I realized that the orientation was actually starting us off in a good way as we begin our medical journey. And I also now understand that starting in a good way isn't just about beginning the morning, it's also about how we enter into relationships. Another teaching that stayed with me was how to hold space between stimulus and response. And what I mean by that is taking a moment to pause before we react. And I think Dr. Price mentioned that earlier as well, the importance of taking a pause. So over the 4 weeks, we've learned about culture, attentive listening, relationship building, and different ways of seeing and understanding. All of these teachings from the orientation have now given us a collection of practices that we can return to in that space when we pause and reflect. And lastly, but not least, how I felt more than anything was just an immense amount of gratitude. I feel so grateful to the Katzie and the Tsawwassen First Nations for welcoming us and generously sharing their knowledge with us. I feel grateful to my classmates who are now friends, and for the families, friends, faculty, staff, and supporters who have all helped us come to this moment here today. And yeah, just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that's here, and we really appreciate you all. Thank you.
I just have to say my peers are so well spoken. Wow. Hello, my name is Colton Tapp, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I am a race car driver, a Red Seal chef, and a world-class musician. For those of you who do know me, you know that's entirely untrue. No, but really, I'm incredibly proud to be one of the inaugural members of the SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine, and what an absolute privilege it is to be here today. Standing on the unceded territories of the Kwantlen, the Katzie, Coquitlam, Kakite, Semiahmoo, and Tsawwassen First Nations, supported by the generosity of the Stevens family and our donors, who have given us the incredible foundation to build upon, surrounded by dedicated faculty and staff, and this truly wonderful group of peers. And of course, by our friends and family who helped us get here before this school ever existed. The people who listened to our rants and supported us through our MMIs and stood beside us through every step that brought us here. I know I couldn't have got here without the people I love. Let's be honest, what we're doing here at this medical school is different. It isn't traditional, but I think that's precisely the point. That's why instead of beginning with a standard white coat ceremony, we're here today sharing in the welcoming and the witnessing ceremony shaped through a culturally informed lens. And that difference has been pretty evident from day one. I recently moved to Surrey, and one of my best friends and roommate is actually here today. He would ask me all the time what I did at school that day. And I'd tell him things like, we went to an art gallery. We painted flower pots. We made protein balls. And we wrote a rap song with our friends about guiding principles that make a good physician. And every time he looked at me like, are you serious? And what was even wilder was that we spent our whole month doing stuff like that, just like that. And now, when I list those things off, I understand why someone might wonder how any of that is relevant to a medical school. And before I came here, I probably would have wondered the same thing. But now I truly know why those moments mattered so much. On our very first day, when I was chosen as a witness, we visited the Katzie First Nation, and I met a man named Len Pierre. He said something that I will always carry with me. He talked about the vital importance of establishing working relationships before we begin the work itself. And when I look back at our first month, I realized that is exactly what we were doing. We weren't simply waiting for medical school to begin, we were building the foundation for it. Every conversation, every activity, and every moment we shared gave us an opportunity to learn about one another, to listen, to laugh, and to understand the person sitting next to us. And somewhere along the way, 48 people who started this journey as strangers began to form a community. And I think there's something pretty special about that. We are the first class, and we will never get a first month. We will never, ever again be the people who can say that we were here at the very beginning. And I think that's why those seemingly unconventional moments have meant so much. Because medicine is built on relationships. It means taking the time to listen closely enough to hear the things that aren't immediately obvious. It means recognizing that the person sitting in front of us is more than a diagnosis, a chart, or a problem to solve. And it means understanding that the work doesn't begin when we finally know enough to start doing it. It begins with the relationships that allow us to do that work together. That is what I've come to understand from my first month at the SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine. That the art gallery, the protein balls, the rap song, which was really good, by the way, none of those things were distractions from becoming physicians. They were part of becoming the physicians, the kind of physicians we hope to be. And wherever each of us eventually goes, I hope that we carry this lesson with us. Before we begin the work, let us remember to take the time to truly see the person and build the relationships that make the work possible. Because when all is said and done, being a doctor is not about how much we know. It's about how deeply we know the people we serve, and never losing sight of the people and the communities at the heart of our work. Thank you.
Catalina, Benjamin, Jasmine, and Colton, thank you. Incredible. Now you see why we are so proud of all of our students, such a remarkable group. I'd like to invite up Dr. Keena Bracken next to say a few brief words. Dr. Bracken is our Associate Dean of Undergraduate and an old colleague, no, a recent colleague from McMaster. So when we started this project here in BC, we were lucky enough to be able to recruit Keena to move west. So go west, young woman, and thank you.
Good recovery there, yes. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Before I'll promise I'll keep my words brief. I did want to acknowledge two people in particular, Justy Chow, who's probably bopping behind the scenes in a way that she impeccably does, holding the show and managing to make sure everything comes off. And also Jackie Carpenter. The two of them have been absolutely instrumental in making this 4-week orientation come to being. So thank you. Listening to the witnesses, I'm feeling incredibly gratified because what we've worked toward has been articulated so clearly by the witnesses. And I want to share with all of you, because some of you weren't with us at Catesy First Nation on that very first day, when I spoke about what orientation really was about. It's not about a checklist. It's not about you must show up here, you must do this by certain periods of time. It's about becoming someone. It's about a way of knowing. And that's really fulfilled by listening to what I heard today. So some of my remarks may seem a little strange for closing a ceremony such as this, but they're kind of like in-house jokes that the students and I have managed to share. I have been at almost every session, certainly every day, with the students on this journey, and that has been an immense privilege. I have enjoyed sharing my stories, some of which were very vulnerable, but I think for a purpose. We talked about the importance of listening. You know my mantra, one of many. The first one being, every learning experience begins with a person and their story. We're all going to get a t-shirt to that effect. We also talk about relationship and how important that is. That's why we began our relationship together as a community of learners on the land, and learning to be with each other and having that, as my favorite Peloton instructor would say, a hand on your back. You have hands on your back from your colleagues and from all of us at the Simon Fraser Stevens Family School of Medicine. So you've heard that. Please know that as you go forward. We talked about the power of re's, the reminder to take a breath, to listen, to re-look. That will serve you well in the days ahead. There will be bumps in the road. You've heard that many times. But as I shared with you, there's a lot of joy as well. And the joy and the fact that you made a difference and will make a difference will sustain you through those difficult times. And you also know that I'm, well, enamored with Ted Lasso. So one of the things that Ted said, you probably know the quote, something about being curious, right? Be curious, not judgmental. Be curious. If that's one thing I would wish for all of you, is that you never lose that sense of curiosity. You continue to ask why. You continue to try and understand the person and the family that belongs to them and where they've come from, because that shapes their health outcome far more than anything else. Looking at that person as a holistic sum of all of its parts. That is what remaining curious is. So thank you for allowing me to learn, to listen, and walk alongside you, and we will continue this journey together as a school. Thank you so much.
I mean, one of the things that makes me so proud of the faculty is people like Keena Bracken and everybody who are our associate deans. And what you don't see is what skilled clinicians they are. Keena and I have worked together at the maternity center in Hamilton, delivering babies, delivering some of the most vulnerable and disadvantaged individuals in our society, and the compassion and the skill that she's able to bring to that is really quite something. I think that's why she's the kind of leader that she is. We're going off script for a minute. Caitlin, would you mind coming back up? I told you you would have your moment in the sun. It's not fair to have... It's worked for me my entire life. Okay, we're bringing today's ceremony to a close now. And just a quick word to the students. You've heard some amazing things from the Stevens, from your fellow classmates, from other leaders in this world, or in this school, in this auditorium. We just really do want to say thank you for believing in us and being a part of our journey. I'm sure it was a bit of a leap of faith for some of you to put your application in for a brand new school that wasn't yet ready or wasn't even formed. It was a vision of many of us, and I think you've helped animate it and bring it to life. And that, to me, is what the important thing is. And we will be in this journey with you together. There will only ever be one inaugural class of students at the SFU Stevens Family School of Medicine, and you're it. Students, please stand and be recognized. With that, I can pretty much officially declare that our ceremony of welcoming and witnessing has come to a close. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to our honored guests, to our faculty and staff and friends and family. It's really been wonderful to share this moment with all of you. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Malhotra, who's going to help us with a couple of minutes of housekeeping as we bring the students out for pictures, etc., and then we'll invite you all to gather and join us in the foyer for some refreshments. Samir.
Thank you. So for just a couple minutes, we're going to pause. We're going to let the students, the faculty, and leadership walk down to the front through these two front doors to the atrium to have some photos. Everyone else, if you just mind remaining in your seat for a couple moments, and we can go ahead now. And as the students, the faculty, leadership are walking away, I just wanted to mention during the Cedar Headband ceremony, there was a professional photographer here, and those pictures will be available at a later date. For free. Yeah. Thank you for your patience for just a couple more moments. It'll just be a couple more moments. Thank you again for your patience. Did I say that I really, really am grateful for your patience? Thank you. Pardon me? I should do the rap song, is that right? Yeah. I need Colton here. Thank you again, everyone. You can make your way down through the front doors here to the atrium. There's some light refreshments, and we encourage you to spend some time with the students, the family, and the friends, and have a nice time. Thank you again, everyone. Have a nice day.